Chat plays and all the social media networks on these two networks. And today we have a lot to talk about. We just started the baseball playoffs. We'll get that coverage as well as some talk and we'll get into some NFL and college football. We know it's all baseball today. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the green room as we have our cappers just about ready to join us here in our show. We'll have Al Ninos. We have Shane Mickle with us, Alex Smart, Chris Ruffalo, and of course it's Mitch who will co-host today with me today. Mitch, how you doing today, and keeping an eye on this baseball?
I spent the morning with Chris Ruffalo doing college football videos, all for this weekend's games for Sports Chat Plays. I'll be doing we'll be doing NFL videos in the next day or two, and then of course I'll be doing it all over again at Pick Dog. So going to be locked and loaded for this weekend.
Absolutely. Of course, I just get your thoughts here on some of the games we saw. What a night. They do it again. A late inning magic here by Houston Astros. Of course, they did take advantage of that shortstop error. They get that called ball 4, and they broke it open before one win against the Twins.
Kenta Maeda not really getting the benefit of the doubt there throughout the game. I thought there was some pretty lousy calls that went against him pretty much the entire game. And I don't know if you've been watched heard the commentary during the game, but that Kenta Maeda has like a career ERA, sub 3. But with that umpire behind the plate, 8.6. So, is there any validity to that? Probably. It is what it is. I had the Twins in that one, and I had them, the damage at least wasn't too bad. And, we'll move on. And I thought regardless, the Twins had their chances, and when you let the fish off the hook in the first inning, when you have the bases loaded with less than 2 outs and you get 0 runs, I mean, 1 run would have been disappointing, but to get 0, that, you leave yourself wide open.
Yeah, they certainly do. And of course, we see a win here by the Chicago White Sox. It looked like it was a 4-1 final there. Of course, Oakland goes with the left-hander, and of course the White Sox have been pounding left-handed pitching, but really Athletics are getting their best work from their lefties, and it looks like they're going to come with a lefty in game 2, but it is the White Sox with some home run power to win that one.
Well, I mean, the White Sox, it was interesting to hear some of the commentary about their finish to the season and how, they could have been the number 1 seed in the American League. It ended up at number 7, and basically they said, because we didn't care. It's like they came out and said, because we didn't care. We just wanted to be in the postseason and be in the best shape possible once we got there. And that's our philosophy, and we're going to stick with it. And it was like, okay. It's like you don't really hear the teams say that too much, but they said it, and, they definitely proved something today. They said playoff baseball is something different, was the exact quote.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Something different. And probably, but a lot of people have said, a lot of times is players don't care about seeding. They just want to get in the playoffs, right? Unless they can get home field advantage, it's different. But seeding doesn't matter to a lot of these players.
I happen to, I pride myself in, along with Ruffalo and Rod Zawacki and Bittler and, a lot of the other handicappers, on our sites, we pride ourselves as being part of the community out there. So we hear what everybody's saying, and while I don't believe that teams tank on purpose, I also don't believe that teams will lose a game because they don't want to face this team in the first round. They're just happy to be there. I remember Russell Wilson walking off the field he was the late game. And it was a playoff, and they're like, oh, and you'll be playing this team. And he was like, oh, I didn't know that. He's like, what are you going to do to prepare for them? He's like, who are we playing? It's like, oh, okay, we're playing the Falcons. It was something like that, And I think that's how these guys look at it. And, I just think that, we look at it from a much broader perspective than the players themselves do. And it's like these guys, they're just there to play who is in front of them. And there's nothing guaranteed in sports except, well, I guess some of these baseball contracts. But, it's that for every guy on a professional sports roster, there's somebody looking to take their spot. So, these are high paying jobs, and they're certainly not readily available. So I don't believe there is such a thing as tanking or any of that stuff. And I think we saw today, the White Sox, they were just excited to be there, and they didn't think twice, They didn't think 1 second about, oh, we finished the season really bad and, we didn't get a bounce to go our way. the first guy up got a hit, and they just kept going from there.
Absolutely. Of course, we're now looking here at this Rays and and Toronto Blue Jays. And look who's on the mound for the Rays. It's Robbie Ray. And right off the bat, we got a runner on third on a leadoff triple. So Robbie Ray in. Hold your breath. Get that bullpen
Comes
going.
Comes back with a strikeout here, though.
All right, comes back with a strikeout. They'll get him once in a while, but
But this is Robbie Ray baseball. It's kind of him, Lance Lynn. It's like you're gonna see base runners. They're gonna make it interesting, but they hang around for a reason.
Yeah, they didn't go with Ryu here. They're going to go with him tomorrow. So your thoughts there without starting Ryu against Snell?
I think maybe they like their chances the way Shoemaker has been pitching.
Yeah, that could be the case. Okay, we'll talk Yankees and Indians later. We're going to have a pick on that toward the end of the show. Mitch, Monday Night Football. It's the Chiefs getting the win. Of course, no one talks about this KC defense. I mean, look, they gave 13 points defensively, and they get past the Ravens.
I thought that Andrews, the tight end for the Ravens, I know it's win as a team, lose as a team, but sometimes you got to point some fingers and assign some blame. And I would say that Andrews took the Ravens right out of that game. You got to catch those passes. I don't watch the games with the sound, so I don't know what the announcers were saying. But I'm going to say that the Ravens defense gave up 34 points to the Chiefs. That is about as good as you're going to do. That it's. I mean, I didn't hear the commentary. I could tell you that Marcus Peters, people on the show, in the comments were, oh, Marcus Peters this and Marcus Peters that. No way. That he did as good a job as you could have possibly done. And I think that Andrews getting hit in the hands, a couple key completions in the first half that he dropped for first downs, and of course that touchdown. As the Ravens had all the momentum in the world, and when they had to settle for the field goal, you could just see the deflation on the sideline. And I think the Chiefs clearly were the better team, and the Ravens have to find some other answers, they might need to come up with a different strategy because Mahomes has the big games against them, and Lamar Jackson, his worst outing as a pro quarterback, like I said. He wasn't helped at all. You have to catch those passes. You have to catch them. It's like those are the ones, There's only 3 or 4 plays that decide an NFL game. And I felt the Ravens had enough momentum at that point in the second half when Andrews dropped that touchdown pass. And like I said, I have no idea what they said on TV. But I felt they had enough momentum there to win the game as Robbie Ray throws one to the backstop and the guy from third cruises home. That was Robbie Ray right there.
That's it.
Pretty
That's
much
it.
what you get.
Yes,
but anyways, I think this is an interesting NFL season, and a lot like my handicapping in the bubble at the NBA, I need to apply more of that into the NFL than I have been. I did the first week or so, and then I kind of let it go, and I kind of looked more at the teams. But you got to look at this fanless environment.
Yes.
And, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I would only say this in baseball. The only edge you have is the pitchers familiar with the mound at their home stadium. Some of them get a little more comfortable. They're there all the time. That's kind of what I see. Maybe even kickers kicking in NFL, kicking field goals in their home turf. Maybe that may have something to do with it. But you're right. There are no fans in these games, and we saw like 2 road teams win so far.
Domes, in the baseball and in football. In the dome stadiums, those are the teams that we're really seeing underperform, the Vikings and the Saints.
Yeah, and the Seahawks defense. The Seahawks defense, even they're winning games, but they're giving up a lot of yards.
Well, Clappy always keeps it interesting. The Seahawks, they're not a blowing out type team. They're like, if you're ever in a box pool, and you have a bad number, as long as it's a Seahawks game, you're in good shape. 19-17, 19-16, 19-18, those numbers are never out of the book, when it's the Seahawks are involved, because they just always seem to get on weird numbers. And I think in the NFL this past weekend, we talked about this on the morning show a bunch too, is that there were a few games out there that I had wagers in where, I had opportunities, and I knew I was on a bad number, and it was like I knew before the game was over I was done. Like when the Titans missed the 2-point conversion and there was on a bad number the whole way, I knew I was kicking myself already for not just betting them straight up on the money line, as opposed to laying the points. And because I knew it, I was on a bad number the whole way, and I had a chance, with the 2-point conversion. They didn't get it, and I was like, "There's nothing here that's going to happen that's going to put me on a winner here." It's just I'm on a bad number.
We've seen interesting this NBA Finals will start Wednesday, but we'll have a pick on that tomorrow. But I did notice, Mitch, the line has come under 5 in a lot of places now. It's now Lakers -4.5.
Well, the Heat there's a few angles here that I think people are looking at. I think that Iguodala and LeBron James angle, coincidence, maybe not. That's who it ends up being. And, I think, when you get past the big two on the Lakers, I think the Heat have a gigantic advantage. So, plus not having to go to Staples to play these games. This is big. Can you imagine if it's Miami against LA and they're going back and forth across the country?
Oh, boy.
It's a totally different story.
Yeah, that totally. And I call it Riley's double revenge. Of course, Lakers ran him out back in the day, and of course, LeBron left him. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in that postseason playoff. All right, guys, the drive-through every day. We're here Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. each time. A lot of picks coming. We got a lot of baseball picks. We'll sprinkle in some NFL and college football as well. Yankees Indians pick will be on the way as well. So we got some primetime action. But let's get the cappers in here to start the show. We'll go out and welcome Alex Smart. You'll find him over at Pick Dogs, a really good performer. You're always the top of leaderboards. Alex, how you doing today? I know you got your eye on this NBA Finals. Your thoughts here, this Lakers and Heat series?
Well, Mitch just said something interesting. I mean, we have a situation where these teams are not traveling across the country. We don't have the home court advantage. And, this is a neutral court environment. Now, it depends how you look at it. If you would have told me 2 months ago, the Lakers and the Heat in the finals, I'd say Lakers all the way. Sweep. But, and that's not, and I know we love Miami and we love the way Butler's played, but you still have to give guys like LeBron James and a very, very hungry Davis some respect here. And I know the depth is definitely there for the Heat, but, we still have to keep our eyes on the floor here with two superstars who are very hungry right now. So take that into consideration. And laying 4.5 points may not be that much.
All right.
No matter how much sharp money, I'm sorry to interrupt, but no matter how much sharp money's out there, how many people really love the Heat, I don't think we're showing enough respect for LA, but we'll see after tonight.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes as the game will tip off on Wednesday to open up the NBA Finals. I know as we were talking before the show, you were really high on this White Sox team. You were looking at some serious odds with them.
Yeah, I'm looking at some serious odds. I'm looking at some futures odds. I'm looking at them as possible World Series champions. And I know you can chuckle it up all you want, but you saw what they did today. I feel bad. I bet against them today. I had some value. I really thought I was going to take some bucks from the books today, but I didn't on that one play. But I'll tell you, I've learned my lesson. I'm going to pick my spots, obviously, the White Sox. I'm not just going to jump in on them every day, but I'm looking at them as a dark horse favorite to win the World Series.
Hey, Mitch, I know you started that bandwagon. You were the first passenger in that wagon. You got another guy in there, and Alex with you.
Well, there's plenty of room for on the White Sox bandwagon. Always not usually one of the most popular teams in baseball. It's like they're not even the most popular team in the city of Chicago. It's it's sometimes it's lonely being a Sox fan, and my wife she's shared and heard that aggravation from of all these years, and we're still getting past having Mark Kotsay as her designated hitter for a season. I mean, that was just uncalled for. It was like, how do you even try and get away with that? And then Adam Dunn comes, and then he doesn't bat over 200 either. And it's like, it's been quite a run. It's been since 2008 that the White Sox have been to the postseason. So it was nice to get a win. And you have to remember in 2004 when they won it all, they rolled through these games. These early games, they rolled them. They swept the Red Sox. They swept their way through things. And, of course, they hadn't won the World Series since the Black Sox scandal, but you didn't hear the whining that you heard cross town from those Cub fans.
All right, here on the drive-through here. We're here Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. each time. A lot of picks coming. Alex, there's a game we're going to be looking at here. Game 1 going off Wednesday. It's the Cardinals with Kim, the lefty, against. Now we've seen Paddock now listed for the Padres. So at Lament, I guess he took a ball off one of his. He had a strain, I think, in his arm. So Paddock has been listed, but a huge favorite here for the Padres, minus 170. Total sits here at 7.5.
And Paddock hasn't had a great season. And you look at the value right off the bat. Kim, the starter for the Cardinals, he started in the Cards of bullpen first part of the season, and this is his first postseason appearance ever. But the management, the coaching staff, everybody speaks really highly about him. And the first thing I spoke to somebody earlier who, is a superstar baseball bettor. Has made a fortune in his life pitching. Betting baseball. Sorry, and then he said something very interesting to me, and he said that Kim gets a lot of respect from the management. He gets a lot of respect from the coaching staff, and San Diego is going to load up on him. They're going to load, their hard-hitting right-handers in there. But you got to remember what Kim's done against right-handers this year: 198, 250, 328 slash line. This guy can handle right-handed batters. So we're looking at some value here, and we're looking at some good value. I really believe that we could have a nice upset here in Game 1.
Yeah, I'm with you there with the with that pick with the Cardinals. Mitch, of course, we're trying here to buck this Padres team. Not a lot of experience, a big home run hitter, but Paddock kind of that line is that's the concern.
It is a concern on the line, but you have to be concerned the way the Cardinals really have played uninspired baseball all season long. It wasn't just a kind of like a drought right here, in the last couple of weeks or anything when they needed it most. This team really just laid down like a bunch of dogs, and it's just tough for me to get behind them. They were my pick to make the World Series from the National League. So, here they are with a 22 ranked offense in baseball, which is a problem, against this San Diego team. When I understand Kim has pitched well, but the Cardinals are 30th in home runs. The Padres, fourth in home runs. Fourth in offense, and it's not like the Cardinals have the stellar Cardinal defense anymore either. And I think the Cardinals are in big ass trouble in this series. I didn't get aboard the Padres bandwagon this season, and that's why I had such a bad baseball season. I single-handedly can blame it on the Padres. I know a couple of my other teams let me down in spots, and I always go for the big value. I'm not a minus 200 guy, and I'm not. Alex, I wanted to ask you this, and I've been meaning to ask you this on all the different shows. So with the U.S. lines, right, the new U.S. lines, how do you make money in baseball? Because the spreads are so wide. The juice is so big. The run lines are so tight. You can't even get plus money on a run line anymore. It's like I can't bet minus a run and a half at minus 145. The only way to do it, and I looked at Dana's numbers and how he got there, is he took the plus 1.5 at plus money. It just seems that was the way to go this year. I mean, how do you make money like this?
Yeah, and like I said, I have a very good friend, close friend, and I'll brag him up. He's made a fortune in baseball over the years, and he's brought up the same thing that you just brought up, and he says it's tough as hell. But and I've still been stubborn, messing around with some of it, but at the same time, I could switch over and just say about 70% of his wagers are on totals. So, that's where we're at. So I think a lot of pros are
over, right? The overs. Everything's been over.
And the overs. That's absolutely true. Yeah. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at. I guess you just have to go with the flow and just, you change things up. It was a strange season. So you just have to be nimble. And I think it's
just these prices at 20-cent lines. It's like, it just makes it really, really hard because to me, baseball is always about value, that you could go 500 in baseball and still have a really good season, but not with 20-cent lines. You can't, and you have teams like the Dodgers that are, minus 300 every single night, and winning by one, so it's like maybe you take the plus 1.5 like Dana's been doing and just cash it, because I just could not get to the plus side in baseball this year.
You got to have some balls to go, to take those reverse lines. I have for me anyway. I think I'm just too old school. I never want to see another 60-game season to get in my way. That's all I can say. I hope we don't have another one.
All right.
Because it's hard as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, and then one thing to note here, I don't know if you're thinking totals, is if you think, I thought about unders being value, because usually by this time of the year, these pitchers are up near 200 innings, and they still got fresh arms out there. And based on what we're seeing today, you think we may be seeing some unders coming in.
You know what and that's what we started out with. It looks like, but I'll tell you the truth. What I see here is we see recency bias. Like I said, a 60-game compacted schedule, and then we have recency bias to the over. But then the lines are as such. They're like Mitch said something very, very, very true. Everything's so tight. We're talking this business now. I'm telling you, you've got to spend morning to night. If you want to be a winner in this game, you have to take a lot of time, and you have to have a lot of patience. And like I said, you have to be nimble. And that's the only way I can tell you right now. Like common sense, you just said a common sense thing there. But where's the common sense been this season? So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, here on the drive through, we got picks coming, and Alex, you're coming here with the St. Louis Cardinals at good plus price against the Padres, and we see over at the Pick Dogs Premium, always atop the leaderboards. What do you have going on over at Pick Dogs Premium?
We have the NBA total tonight because once again, I said you have to have the cannolis to go against LA. I wanted to go with LA tonight, but I have some respected bettors that I know that actually went the other way with Miami. And as you can see, the lines moved the other way. So I'll have a little bit of respect, but I did like the total since this morning. And let's see how that goes.
All right, Alex, as always, great to have you on your show. We'll take a look at you over at Pick Dogs Premium, and we'll talk to you a little later in the week.
Okay, gentlemen. Have a good night. Bye.
All right, everybody. Alex Smart here on the drive-through. Back here with Mitch. And, of course, Mitch, we're keeping an eye here on action here in Major League Baseball. Still 1-0 Rays at top of the fifth inning. Of course, Robbie Ray comes in, and Tampa Bay pushes across the run, which we were kind of worried about. And we got a pitching matchup now set for tomorrow, Game 1, 2 Eastern Time. Miami will be Alcantara. There was some talk that might have been Pablo Lopez, but Sandy Alcantara on the hill to face Hendricks. Mitch laying about $1.70 in this one. Still no total. It's going to be played at Wrigley.
Yeah, I think we're just going to see a lot of footage of the Bartman game. I think this is the first postseason meeting of these two teams since the Bartman series. The Cubs, they have good power. I don't know if they have the pitching to win. The Marlins are just so scrappy. It's a similar situation to the Bartman year. It really is, where the Cubs look to have the power, they look to have everything, and then the Marlins were just scrappier. And as it turned out, it was a bunch of guys they've gotten from trades and knew what they were doing all along. But I think this will be one of the more interesting series. I'd be a little nervous about going against Kyle Hendricks in Game 1, but outside of that, if they can beat Hendricks, the series is over. I mean, if they win Game 1, the Marlins, the series is over. Because Kyle Hendricks at Wrigley is lights out. And if you could beat him there, or you have to foul off you have to make him pitch. You gotta take him deep into counts. You gotta foul off a lot of balls. You gotta do whatever you can do. If you can get some 8-9 pitch at bats, get him the hell out of there, you got a good chance.
All right, guys, this is the drive-thru. We're here daily, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. each time. A lot more picks coming. We got baseball still on the docket here. We got some college football, NFL, as well as a Yankees-Indians pick that'll be in prime time as we approach the prime time hour. Let's go ahead and continue the show. We'll bring in one of our big dog handicappers. You'll hear him in the morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time with Mitch on the morning show. It's Chris Ruffalo. Chris, how you doing? Your thoughts so far on these playoff games? We've seen some low-scoring games.
And we have seen some low-scoring games, and all of a sudden, that tends to change when you put Robbie Ray on the mound. But like I said, you Tony, and Mitch know my absolute love and adoration for Robbie Ray.
Yes, we absolutely do. It must have been really, really bad when you saw Shoemaker come out of there, Mitch. And of course, they bring in Robbie Ray. I mean, you got to wonder, what are these guys thinking?
Yeah, Robbie Ray is, he's Robbie Ray. You know exactly what you're going to get. He's going to make it exciting. It's not going to be 1-2-3 with Robbie Ray on the mound, but there's a reason he's a major league pitcher. The Blue Jays obviously had something in mind, because it's not like he was on the roster and they were into him for millions of dollars or something. They went out and got him. So they got him for a reason, and if you got a guy for a reason, well, the postseason has got to be that reason. There is no tomorrow reason, that's for sure. So he wasn't going to not be on the postseason roster. So here it was. It was a key moment. And he bounces one back to the screen. And that's Robbie Ray.
Absolutely. And of course, Chris, I don't know what your thoughts here on this Twins game. They had their chances. Of course, that big error in that ninth inning kind of opened up the floodgates.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I think we talked about it yesterday. I had the Twins in that game, and that was, it's like Mitch said, the Twins had a ton of chances. It's not for a lack of trying in that game. I think you just got a sense in that game of what of the playoff experience that the Astros had. They didn't fold. They didn't, they made sure that whatever chances the Twins had fell by the wayside, and they capitalized on theirs, and that came in the form of another late Astros surge. They scored 3 runs in the ninth, and that's kind of what they've been good at doing. And they, like I said, they took full advantage of it today. Yeah,
they did. And of course, your Oakland, Melvin. It's kind of tough when you know Oakland that the White Sox has just pounded left-handed pitching this year. I think they had 11-1 record or some strong record against left-handed starters. And when you're looking at the roster and it's Dallas Keuchel and Luzardo, your best arms, you almost have to go with them, and it almost worked out perfectly for the White Sox facing lefties.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could go back and forth about talking why. Luzardo, yes, he has had potential, but then other times he's been the guy that gives up 4 or 5 innings. Yeah, we saw it today with Giolito. Giolito he's a guy that in his first couple go-arounds, he was getting hit hard, and then all of a sudden someone just clicked with him, and all of a sudden now he's throwing a no-hitter. He's throwing consistent 10 strikeout games. He's missing a lot of bats. Any professional pitcher is going to be due to a blow-up start here and there. But, I mean, like I said, you're starting to see it now with Giolito, and you're probably going to see it again with a veteran Dallas Keuchel tomorrow, who, I think he was 6-2 in the regular season, low ERA. He's a postseason pitcher as well, so it'll be definitely interesting to see.
All right, continue here on The Drive. They're joined by Chris Ruffalo. Hey, Chris, you're going to be looking at a game tomorrow, the early game, Reds and Braves. We'll look at Bauer versus Fried. We got Atlanta favored about $1.29 around that mark here. Total 7.5, and I'm seeing some 7s. Well, I saw 1 7 pop up, but 7.5 total. Bauer's 2 solid starters on the hill in this one.
I'll tell you, me, I always come on here for 2 for Tuesday, but that doesn't mean I have to do 2 separate games. I'll come on here. I'll get this for the side. This pick's going to be based on if Max Fried's 100% healthy. I think he turned his ankle in a start against Miami on Wednesday, but from what I'm hearing, he's going to be good to go. He threw another bullpen session on Sunday and looked like he was good. Trevor Bauer, for me, as good as his numbers have been this season, it's just he's always seemed due just for one start where nothing seems to go right. It defies all logic, and I think in a postseason game 1 with so much being at stake in a best of 3 series that we haven't seen before, I think this could be that series. Trevor Bauer last time he appeared in the playoffs had an ERA of around 4, and he didn't even make a start. Those were all in relief appearances. And that's like you have a Braves lineup with guys like Acuna Jr., Ozzie Albies, the addition of Marcelo Zuna in the offseason. These are guys that have a ton of pop in their bats, and they can make a guy like Trevor Bauer pay for even the slightest of mistakes. And Max Fried, while he hasn't been an ace-type pitcher by any means, he sort of assumed that role once you saw Mike Soroka go down. And then once you have a patchwork rotation with guys like Touki Toussaint, an injury-ravaged Cole Hamels, and they're bringing up guys like Ian Anderson from the minor leagues to make his debut in the majors and pushing him into the water right away. Max Fried sort of stepped up and took over that ace role, and it's paid dividends, 7-0 with an ERA just over 2 in the regular season. I just think that steel sharpens steel at that point, and I think Max Fried has definitely evolved into that ace-type pitcher, and this is going to be sort of his coming out party as far as the postseason goes. So I would lay the juice with the Braves here.
All right, Chris says go ahead and lay the juice here with the Braves. And, of course, you're looking also at the total on this one. We know the Reds have had their struggles hitting the baseball this year.
Well, and again, yeah, you mentioned that the Braves have had their issues. I also think that this is going to boil down to there was a lot of expectations, like I mentioned before, with the Braves coming in, or sorry, the Reds coming into the season as this hype machine of, look at this roster. They got guys like Sonny Gray, Trevor Bauer, and Luis Castillo in the lineup, a three-headed monster. Guys like Joey Votto and Eugenio Suarez that are just power bats. They made all these moves, and they were still playing 500 baseball. Luckily, 500 baseball is good enough in this environment, this adjusted format. But you still have a guy like Fried who was pitching to let's see here, I had it 209 batting average against right-handed hitters this year, and that Reds lineup is predominantly right-handed. As far as Trevor Bauer goes, he had stellar numbers throughout the course of the season. He even had an ERA under 2 in the month of September, and he was also pitching about a 150 batting average against left-handed pitching this year. And that Braves lineup tends to fluctuate. You can go with a couple switch hitters, righties and lefties. But either way, both of these guys are missing a ton of bats. And we saw it in the first 2 games today. I think playoff baseball is going to just result in some low-scoring games. I like the under 7.5 or even under 7, depending on where the line shifts closer to first pitch.
All right, Chris Ruffalo says take the under in the Braves and Reds, under 7.5, and, of course, take the Braves. Mitch, this Reds team, as Chris was saying, has a pretty good 1-2-3 punch in that starting rotation now. What's your thoughts of the Reds going deep in the playoffs?
I'm less optimistic about the Cincinnati Reds than a lot of the other guys on the morning show who all have futures on them to be the National League team in the World Series. I think it's a big reach. I think the Reds have underperformed for most of the season, and then we saw them, in the back half of the season play a lot better baseball. But I think the issue that we've seen with the Cincinnati Reds is that when they play against the better teams, they don't play better. They play worse. And no matter who it is, we've seen them just not be able to hold up against some of the bigger, better teams, some of the big market teams like the Chicago Cubs, who they would have to go through to get there. And I think that the Reds are if they can somehow get through this series, which I don't think they do, I think that I think they're in big trouble. I think the Reds are probably done right here and now.
All right, here on the drive-thru, joined by Chris Ruffalo and, of course, Mitch. And Chris going here with the Braves and the under here in game number 1 of this series, which is an early start at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Chris, we see over at Pig Dogs, really solid NBA season. Of course, the finals coming up. What do you have over at Pig Dogs Premium?
I couldn't, unfortunately, didn't have anything for the NBA today because I think it's tipping off tomorrow night. But for today, my favorite day of the week, Taco Tuesday. But unfortunately, there wasn't a lot to go around to share with everybody. But I do have the top play as far as the side and the total goes for tonight's Yankees and Indians game. It's going off the top of the hour, $25 over at the website. And I'm going to have a ton of stuff going on the rest of the week as well.
All right, guys, check him out. Chris Ruffalo over at...
Chris was not one of the guys with the future bet on the over.
Thank you.
Bittler and Rod both had the future bet on the over. So
It takes a lot of stopping power to put brakes behind me. But I was saying, whoa, okay, hold on. I did not have that futures bet. I don't have that much money to go throwing around. Like, I'd rather light a $100 bill on fire, but that's just me.
All right, Chris, as always, that's Chris Ruffalo and Mitch here on our drive-thru show. And Chris will be watching Chris on the show tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time with Mitch and company. All right, Chris, as always, great having you on. Check them out over at Pig Dogs Room and get that play from the Yankees and Indians right now as it begins, top of the hour. Chris, we'll talk with you tomorrow.
Gentlemen, thank you for having me. Have a good night.
All right, Chris Ruffalo here on the drive-thru, back here with Mitch. Mitch, we got game 1 in the NL 1 versus 8 seed Milwaukee and the Dodgers. Buehler and undecided. I've seen Lindblom thrown around there. I know the Brewers have had issues with injuries to their starting rotation. LA, I'm showing about a minus 232. The total sits here at 8. But one thing with Buehler, he pitches much better at home in Dodger Stadium. And he seems to be rattled by the fans on the road. He's a pitcher I like to go against on the road. But how do you see this one?
I think Buehler actually gives up a lot more runs than people realize, and he can be had. The Brewers have played pretty gutsy down the stretch to get into the postseason. We've also seen them fall flat on their faces against the lesser teams. The Brewers play good against the good teams. They play bad against the bad teams. They have struggled against the Dodgers in the postseason.
Yeah, they certainly have here, and we're still waiting. That's the one pitching matchup that we have not had solidified. Although there is some question marks tomorrow with the Houston starting pitcher against Berrios in that game too. That's still listed here as undecided. But the other one here is this Milwaukee Dodger lineup. It looks like Kershaw will go in game number 2 for LA. Of course, wouldn't that be something if Milwaukee pulls that upset? Then Kershaw is in that pressure-packed game number 2.
Yeah, I think it would be something, but maybe the shortened season, maybe that is where we see the best of Kershaw.
That could be the case here. Yeah, he does not have near 200 innings in his arm as he does in most postseasons, so that could definitely be the case. All right, continuing here on the Drive to Guys, still a lot more picks coming. We got a lot of baseball playoff picks. We will have the Yankee-Indian pick momentarily. We also have some NFL and college football. But let's welcome to the show right now, El Ninos, to our show. El, how you doing today? And your thoughts here on some of the baseball we've seen this afternoon, morning, 4-1 finals in the first 2 games.
Yeah, a lot of great pitching so far, and looks like another low-scoring game coming up. And, I can't say the Yankees game is going to be too high-scoring, although it's one of the best lineups in the league again, so I don't know. I stayed away from that total myself, but yeah, 6.5 total next to the Yankees, pretty crazy. But yeah, you got 2 of the best pitchers in the league going at it, so I'd guess under there too if I had to, but I'm really staying away from it.
All right, of course, you're going to be looking at this White Sox. Oakland's going with the right hander. I got it crossed there when I was talking to Chris earlier. We got Keuchel, the lefty, on the hill for the White Sox against Bassett for Oakland. Oakland favored here in game 2, $1.24. Total sits here at 7.5. We saw the White Sox power here in game number 1 of this series. But here we go. White Sox here are going to be dogs in this one.
Yeah, they're little dogs, but there's already some money coming in on them. I already noticed that line go down a little bit. I already made a little play on them myself. And this one might turn into a premium pick. By the end of the night, the more I look at it, the more I like this game. I mean, especially after seeing what we saw today. I mean, these are 2 great teams. They've played great baseball this season. But that injury to Chapman, I think it's really going to cost them here. It's really showing up. And, that's really a big blow to their offense. And obviously we got a great pitchers duo between Bassett and Keuchel here. So I expect another very low-scoring game here. The under looks great too. It's at 7.5, a bit juiced to the under right now. So yeah, I would take that as well. But the play I'm going with for tonight is the White Sox on the money line. Just think they're the better offense, and we got 2 great pitchers, so I'm gonna have to take the better offense here.
Mitch, we're seeing already an elimination game this fast for Oakland. How can they regroup here in this one?
Well, I think they're the type of team that just plays better with their backs to the wall, and it's like when less is expected of them, it's when they seem to be at their very, very best. And that is the Oakland team that we've been riding for years and years and years at great prices. Oakland was always one of our great dog of the day teams. My hat is like sideways.
Yeah.
Adjustment. It's just, I don't know. It's a tough look. But anyways, the A's have always been one of my great dog of the day teams for years. And this was the first year that we really saw them as in the favorite role for the better part of the season. I think that, here with their backs to the wall, Keuchel is certainly pitching better than we've seen him in the last few years. But everyone is susceptible. And we even saw it in tonight's game where Oakland, rallied in the 8th inning. And that is their thing. And that is the trademark of the great teams. They rally in the 8th. I think I have to disagree with you on tonight's game. I think Cole gets absolutely blistered, but that's besides the point. We've seen him get just absolutely shelled, and I think that tonight will be one of those glove throwing on the bench, type games for him because we know as soon as you crack that seal, it gets mighty ugly for that guy. So I think he was one of the biggest disappointments in all of baseball. He should have been on the Phillies. Would have been a perfect fit. How about you? What do you think of that, Tony?
We'll get my opinion on very soon on this game as we approach the top of the hour. We'll tease on it.
I'm just saying. Garrett Cole for $35 million, you're going to have to do better than that. You have to be better than what he delivered, and he was the same pitcher we saw in Pittsburgh. The same pitcher that we saw in Pittsburgh. Not even as good as the pitcher that we saw in Houston. He was the exact same pitcher where he looks like he's just cruising along, striking out everybody, and then all of a sudden, C&I single, not a good pitcher with runners on base. He gets very, very rattled. You talk about these pitchers that get rattled on the road. Garrett Cole gets rattled with a guy on first base. It's like all of a sudden he just forgets everything he ever knew about pitching. And I think you're going to see it tonight. Because the Indians, not a big run-scoring team, but they have a great run differential because very, very, very hard to hit on them. And, you think Shane Bieber hasn't faced tough lineups. Oh, yeah, all of a sudden the Chicago White Sox lineup isn't a tough lineup. They led the major leagues in home runs this season. And he baffled them every single time he played them. I have a premium pick on this game. I'm giving it out for free. All Indians, I'm going to go alternate run line on this thing. I think it's 4-1 at least.
All right, that's Mitch here. Join us here on the drive.
If not the pure shutout. I think Cole probably gets up there in the strikeouts, but we know, it doesn't really matter. We've seen him high in strikeouts and to get tattooed. When if you can get beat by Tyler Glass now at home, you sure as hell can get beat by Shane Bieber on the road. That's all I gotta say on that one.
But in his defense, he's had pretty good numbers against this lineup. Just giving up
at $35 million a year, at $15,000 a pitch, you don't get a defense. You don't get one. When you sign a contract for $15,000 a pitch, you lose all defense. You don't get it. You don't get any breaks. You get nothing. When you sign that contract, when you go to park your car at the stadium, when you go to buy a hot dog at the stadium, when you go to buy a beer at the stadium, when you go to get a program at the stadium, that contract is what you're paying for. It's like people complain it's $18 for a chicken nugget, at Yankee Stadium. Yeah, that's why. Because of this guy. So it's like if you want $15,000 a pitch, then every pitch has got to be perfect.
That's Mitch. Join us here on the drive-thru. And I want to tell you right now, that is a game that's getting all discussion in the chat room. We're about 50-50 there. Half of the chat guys chime in with your pick on this one. I'd like to see this here. The Yankees or the Indians. It's about 50-50 in the chat room there, Mitch. That's been the discussion since we started the show, is this Yankees-Indians game.
Oh, I got a premium pick on the Indians. I'm giving it to you for free.
There you go.
It's $50 guaranteed. So however many of those I would have sold.
Well, we just got Josh P. just joined your band. Well, no, yep, he came in. We're seeing it here. Well, we're seeing split again. Look at this, guys. There we go. That's great. All right, Al.
Cole's not losing this game, but he could get absolutely battered by a nobody Rays lineup at home. It's like let's look at Garrett Cole's numbers. All right, let's just go through the let's do it. Let's do what we do, right? Let's break it all down to the minutia and see exactly how $35 million is worth the crap that this guy has served up this season, and how you could endorse that is an embarrassment. I mean, it's ridiculous to defend this. Okay, 6 innings, four hits, 5 runs, 1 earned, 10 strikeouts, right? And the 2 walks, which he paid the price for, and the dinger, right? I mean, this is what he does. It's always 10 strikeouts, 9 strikeouts. Whoa, he's throwing heat. Oh, man, did that ball leave the park in a hurry. It's like this guy gives up the laser home runs. And, here's a team with postseason experience that he's facing. Big postseason experience, right? Big postseason experience. I think the Yankees are in for a world of hurt in this one. I know that Cole won his last 3 games. He beat Baltimore and Toronto twice, but he lost to Tampa Bay. They were losers to Baltimore. That was the Keegan Aiken game, right? And then they lost to Atlanta, another big hitting team. He had the no decision in the and the team lost to the Rays, yeah, 4-2. See, this is if you're a $35 million guy, you're a guy, right? And I'm not a Dodger lover, but I'm going to say this: if you want to be Clayton Kershaw, right, which you're paying Cole better than Kershaw money, right? Better money than Kershaw's ever gotten, right? You're going to pay this guy above Clayton Kershaw pay grade. You got to be able to win 1-0 games, and this guy does not do that.
All right, that's a.
You got to be able to beat you got to be able to beat Blake Snell 1-0. You got to be able to do it, right? Felix Hernandez, right? Hernandez. He won the Cy Young with a losing team. He won the 1-0 games, man. That's how you do it. And this guy doesn't do it. He doesn't have a shutout on the board here, not one. And he's up against Bieber. Good luck. That's what I got to say. Let's look at Bieber's numbers, all right? Yeah. Who's played nobody, right, except for major league rosters all season. He didn't play Toronto and Baltimore. Let's see what Shane Bieber did. Because 3 playoff teams came out of the Central and 3 came out of the East. So he definitely played playoff teams, okay? So he beat the White Sox 3-2, 5 innings, 2 hits and a run. He beat Detroit 7.2 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs. 7 innings, 5 against. He lost to Minnesota was his loss, right? Gave up 3 runs in that one. Minnesota, playoff team. Then beat Milwaukee, playoff team. Lost to Kansas City. He allowed 1 run on. No, one. He allowed 1. He got a no decision. Okay, in this game, 6 innings, 1 hit allowed, 9 strikeouts. He gets a no decision. Imagine what Cole's record would be if that was the case. If he had to deal with that. It's like, I don't even see this as apples to apples. You're saying he played nobody. I see 1 against playoff team, 2 against playoff team, 3 against playoff team, 4 against playoff team, 5 against playoff team, 6 against playoff team. He played playoff teams from both sides: Cincinnati, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Chicago, Minnesota. It's like he played way more playoff games than Cole did. I don't see it.
I don't think either of them have faced. They could have both faced tougher lineups, but I still think Cole's has been a bit tougher. And yeah, he went through a bit of a slump. He finished his season strong though. And you're right, he is overpaid. I'm not trying to defend his paycheck. No way. But there are plenty of overpaid players these days. That's what if you ask me, they're all overpaid. But of course, he's on a different level of being overpaid. But it doesn't make him a bad pitcher just because he's overpaid. I think he's a good pitcher and he has the better offense.
I didn't say he was a bad pitcher. I'm just saying he's no Bieber.
Maybe not, but I don't think the Indians are the Yankees either.
Well, you don't have to be. Hey, if the other team scores 0 runs, you're not going to lose a lot of games. And Garrett Cole has not shown the ability to do that throughout his entire career.
All right, Al, we're joined here with
Bieber has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shutouts. How many does Cole have? Very hard to win games scoring 0. Very, very hard to score.
Yeah, he has 1 shutout
to win scoring 0.
But you can beat 1 runs. He has a few of those.
Well, his first start of the year, right? 3 runs. His first game of the year, he had the big outing. But since then, he's been,
No, he's had a few good runs. And finished strong.
All right, so we'll see. And,
we'll see.
I think this discussion will continue on the next segment because we're going to push up my pick to the next one. All right, Al, let me know what do you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium as we hit the top of the hour.
Well, I know I gave a lot away on this, but I still have a premium play on this pick as well, and I've made a few plays already. I got my NBA play ready for tomorrow. I have 1 MLB play ready for tomorrow and a few more going off after the show. And I have my Thursday night football game too. Like that one a lot. So if you want to check those out, go ahead.
All right, guys. All right, check out Al Nino's over at Pig Dogs Premium. Pick up that premium pick. And, of course, Al, it's always great having your show. Have a great night, a winning night, and we will talk with you tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you
We'll
guys
talk
tomorrow,
tomorrow.
and yeah, we'll see the result tonight.
I won't be here, but
I'll talk
I'll
with
be
you
in
tomorrow.
the morning chat. I'll see how about that.
Hey, don't
Oh,
mind
he's-
me. I'll just be here. Don't mind me. I'm just exploring alternate run lines here because I think I might have talked myself into just seeing. I'm just interested to see what they're being paid here because, yeah, I've seen the undressing of the phony balonies before.
All right.
I wish you luck, but I can't do that right now. But enjoy the game, though. Should be a good
We're getting plus money on Bieber.
Yes, you are. It's the late money has definitely come on Bieber. Al, have a good night. I will talk with you tomorrow. So have a good night and good luck to you tonight. And good luck to me.
-2.5. -2.5 pays plus 375 on your money on Shane Bieber, the Cy Young Award winner for the American.
As we reach the top of the hour, go ahead.
-1.5 reverse run line, 237 on the Cy Young Award winner for the American League. Garrett Cole on the other side of this one is plus 152 on the run line. You're on the guy has the far better numbers, a full run less in ERA. You're getting $1 more, a full $1 more. How could you not take that? I mean, what in what world, can people afford to leave that kind of money on the table? This is why people don't win money sports betting. It's like it doesn't even make any sense. There's nothing. I'm sure Tony's going to tell me how he's got the Yankees now.
I do have the Yankees. That's all right. That's who I have in this game. We're moving my pick next, guys, because this one goes off in about 15 minutes. So we're going to take my pick here, Yankees.
-4.5. -4.5. 10-1 on your money. Almost 11-1 on your money at -4.5. It's worth a shot. Put $100 on it. Win $1,000.
Yeah, that's Mitch is adding more to his pick. We got a pick from Mitch. We're getting a lot of picks from Mitch today.
People ask, how do you pay for all this stuff? How do you afford to live in Hawaii? How do you get from Chicago to Hawaii? By playing bets like this, the easy ones. The ones where you say, how in the hell is this guy favored over Shane Bieber, who has been -200 all season long?
Have you seen Bieber against the Yankees? How has he fared against the Yankees recently? Let's go and see Bieber against the Yankees, and let's see how Bieber does. Leave it to Bieber. How do you do against the New York Yankees? So let's go ahead and pull this up because you guys know I like the Yankees in this one at -117 now, and I'm going against Mitch in this one. I'm going to hear about it, and I'm okay. I'm a big guy. I got leather skin. So let's see here. We've got Bieber against the Yankees. Let's take a look here. Shane Bieber, we're going to see you against New York Yankees, and let's see.
Yep, I did say the Monday night game was going to 100. I'm not right 100% of the time, but I will say that I take my shots, and I'm right more than I'm wrong. And when you take shots the way that I do, even people who I won't even work with anymore, they'll say one thing about me. They'll say, "Well, how does Mitch win so big? Why does Mitch win so big? Why is it always so?" Because he makes big bets, and that's exactly what I do. I take my shots.
Yeah.
Sports betting is about money management, and it's about cashing in on opportunities where you have plus money. You cannot continue to bet negative money throughout your sports betting and continue to make money. You cannot do it. It cannot be done. But if you have shots like this on a money line, on the Cy Young Award winner, is plus money at home.
Now it is, but at an hour ago it was -105 both sides. So there has been late money coming on the Yankees. So just look at the line history on this game, and you will see that it was pretty close. It was close to pick 'em here. So there has been late money.
I own it. When I give out a losing pick, I own it. I got nowhere to hide. 5 million people a month. Between the website and YouTube, over 5 million people a month see my picks. I got nowhere to hide. It's like there's nowhere for me to hide. I don't want to hide. I own it, man. I gave out the over last night. I thought it was going to go over 100. The guy missed the extra point. The tight end drops a touchdown. Here, whatever. I'll tell you, had the Ravens run any kind of offense there whatsoever, the game goes to 100. The Chiefs scored 37 without blinking, 34 without even blinking, that game could have easily gone 51-53, easily.
All right, so I asked the question, how did Bieber do against the Yankees? 2 starts lifetime against New York in 2019 and 2018. New York scored 9 runs, 8 earned in 8 2/3 innings. So that's the answer.
Where were the games at?
These games were played. Let's see who the designated home teams. It looks like they were both played here. Let's see here. In Cleveland. One was in Cleveland.
All right.
A 7-6 win by the Yankees in that one, and the other one, let's pull it up here. Let's see here. And he only lasted an inning and 2/3 in that one. They got him early in that one. And let's see where the other start was here.
If you're going to get him, you got to get him early. I mean, that's traditionally the tough pitchers.
They got him early in that one. And that was
Tom Glavine was always you got to get him early guy.
Yeah.
Always
early. And I think it's Giolito's also falls into that category. You got to get him early. I know he's another one. Let's see.
He was dealing today.
Oh, today he was dealing. Yeah, he looked really, really good.
He was in the zone.
Absolutely. Let's see here. I'm trying to find here where we got that first start. Now we need to find.
Look at these pitch counts on Bieber too. 110, 118, 109, 103. It's like.
Yeah, I mean, I base it basically on history, and of course, obviously, you can't. You have to. I looked at the lineup, and again, at the time I handicapped it was minus 105 each side, and there has been a lot of late money, no doubt, coming here on the Yankees. And oh goodness, where are we at here? I'm trying to look here for Bieber.
Al Ninos with the
here we go.
Shutout, Cole's shutout over the Orioles.
Oh, is it? Oh. Here we go. I think we can pull this up. We're waiting for this to pop.
Congratulations. 114 pitches.
Let's see here. Okay, so the second start was. It looks like both outings were in.
So people are saying blogging the show.
No, that's fine. Both outings were in Cleveland. So the play is the Yanks here in this one. So both starts in Cleveland, and the Yankees have had a good history hitting against Shane Bieber. All right, guys, this is the drive-through. Still more picks coming, and joined by Mitch, we'll have a football talk.
What were Al's premium picks so far today for the games that are over?
I didn't.
I had the White Sox. I'll tell you that much. Anyways.
All right, we'll continue here on the drive-through. I'm joined by Mitch.
Don't mind me. Don't mind my typing. I'm not doing anything important.
All right, Mitch, I want to take a look at this Missouri and Tennessee game, which I think is pretty interesting. I want to look at the line here. It looks like Tennessee favored here at where is it? Tennessee 11.5, 12.5 in some places. Total sits here at 48.5. Tennessee is one of those teams that could be improved. Of course, they got the win and covered for some against South Carolina last week. Of course, Missouri had some late scores, a little second half success last week. But your thoughts here, Mitch, as Tennessee and Missouri go at it?
Yeah, I thought that Missouri played pretty well against Alabama. I know that a lot of people think they beat them in garbage time, but I think a lot of teams out there would wish they could beat Alabama in garbage time. We've seen a lot of teams do a lot worse. I might have dropped another rack on Bieber. I might have. I mean, it could have happened. But anyways, I think that what we saw from Missouri was pretty impressive in the second half against Alabama. And I saw that we saw that they didn't quit. Missouri's never really a pushover, and they're never going to get the credit that a lot of the other SEC teams do. So you're always going to find value there. I thought Tennessee was pretty impressive as well at South Carolina. I liked Columbia in that one. I liked South Carolina to win at Columbia or to at least cover the spread there. They were in it the whole way and didn't get it done. This Tennessee team's on a major winning streak right now. I just think the points are a little much for me. I think I'm going to go Mizzou plus the points.
I can't argue that one at all. All right, here on the drive-through, joined by Mitch, and we continue. We got more picks coming. We're going to be looking at football here as we approach the top of the hour. Let's go ahead and welcome Shane Mickle to the discussion. Shane, how you doing? Before we start, who do you like, the Yankees or the Indians?
No comment.
No comment.
Not Mitch's pick.
Not Not Mitch's pick.
No, I have the Yankees tonight.
Oh boy! All right. Of course, we're joined here, Shane Mickle.
You're foolish and lack vision. You're also fired. It was nice knowing you. It's like, you see those snow. That's great.
Your thoughts, Shane, on some of these baseball games we've seen so far today? We've looked at 2 4-1 wins by the road team and a close one here with Tampa and Toronto.
Yeah, it's definitely been the pitcher's day so far, and all the offenses. I don't know if it's nerves early or just not getting a good rhythm or just good pitching, but everyone struggled to hit, especially my Minnesota Twins.
Oh goodness, yeah. Speaking of the Minnesota Twins, your thoughts there? The error, and of course that ball 4, a little questionable there.
Yeah, it was frustrating. I did have Astros as a premium play, but it was it sure was frustrating with bases loaded in the first inning and you couldn't get a run. I knew at that point that there was no chance the Twins were coming away with a victory.
I look that way. What's your thoughts on the game tomorrow?
Well, just I'd probably have to go with the Astros again. The Twins have lost, I think, 18 straight now postseason games. Pretty clear they don't know how to win in the playoffs, so probably have to go look at the Astros again. Another big key with that game is the Twins basically used all their good bullpen guys today trying to get a start or get a win. Jose Barrios is on the mound, and he can be really good or really bad, but if he only goes 3 or 4 tomorrow, the Twins are going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, because they do have some bullpen issues there. They're a little crooked on the road, better at home. But yeah, you're right about that. Something to keep in mind of here as we see now this line. I'm showing about the Twins favored in this one, $1.50 in some places. It opened at that high. So if you're taking Houston, you're getting plus. We did see Framber Valdez come in, pitch some relief for Houston, and looked like their relief corps did pretty well for the Astros.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if the Twins want to win, they're going to have to jump on it early tomorrow and give Barrios some run support. Yeah, 2 or 3 runs I don't think isn't going to be enough to get the job done.
Yeah, and he hasn't had this playoff success, Barrios. And one thing I noticed when I look at his advanced numbers, he always has issues with those walks.
For sure. Yeah, he'll and that's what hurt the Twins again today. They walked one in the ninth. So walks will haunt, as they like to say.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Shane, I know you're going to be looking at some NFL. We get some NFL discussion here as we got the Bears, the 3-0 Chicago Bears. They replaced their starting quarterback. Can you believe that? Yes, we can believe it when Mitch Trubisky is quarterback. Yeah. Right? It's no surprise to anyone.
Wow, they're not giving Bieber the strike zone. You can see it out of the gate, man. Oh my God.
Is there really a team in the NFL in a better position than the Bears? They started Trubisky. They were able to win 2 games, and now they get to put Nick Foles in, and they're 3-0. Now they have their guy under center who they want. And I mean, NFC North champs, I think. They're going to give the Packers a run for their money.
They are. Right now, the Colts are favored on the road, 2.5. Total sits at 44.5. I think looking at this, and it opened a point, so there's been money in Indy. I think people are kind of concerned about Nick Foles in a starting role instead of coming in as a backup quarterback. But now you're listing him as starter. I think that gets people a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean, but he was listed as a starter once those playoffs rolled around to Philadelphia after Carson Wentz came out, and he won those games. So I think Nick Foles has a big game. The wide receivers aren't going to know what to do because the balls are actually going to be thrown to them, not 10 to 15 yards over their head. And I think the offense has a big game, and they come away with the victory. I'm taking them plus 2.5 if you want to be safe, but I'm putting a bet on the money line. All
right, we've got Shane Mickle.
2-0 Yankees. 2-0 Yankees.
2-0 Yankees. All right. Well, we know the Yankees have got to them. That was the handicap on that one. All right, Shane. Mitch, your thoughts here on the Bears going to Nick Foles. One thing I want to look at the Colts situation. This might be the game they miss Marlon Mack. I think it's definitely a step up in class for Philip Rivers to face this Bears defense.
You know, Phil Rivers is known to throw into tight spaces or to try to throw into tight spaces, especially when there's a need to throw into tight spaces. And I think that, then it's always problems, against an opportunistic Bears defense. We've seen the Colts play we've seen the Colts play, hit and miss, and the Bears. It's never pretty. It's never pretty. I don't love Foles starting in the starting spot. I like him in the relief spot. I think he's much better in relief than as a starter. At least that's what we've seen. But he did win a Super Bowl as a starter, so we got to give him that. And he did beat Bill Belichick as a starter and Tom Brady. So there's something to say about that as well. So I don't know. It's I think that probably the Bears are in a good spot. I think there are teams that are in better spots than the Chicago Bears with Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky, though. And, I think that I have to disagree with Shane's comment on that, but definitely, I haven't looked too much at the NFL so far yet for this weekend. I'm still trying to get past last game. Tough to see through the tears.
Yeah, one thing I noticed, Shane, is when Rivers had success, it's when he had a run game behind him. LT and company running for well over at least 4.5 yards per carry. But that wasn't the case in his final season with the Chargers. They weren't even getting to 4 yards a carry. And as Mitch said, when he's not getting help from the run game, he kind of feels like he has to carry the whole team. And that's when he gets into trouble, where he makes the mistakes, as you always fit the tight window, try to force. We've seen it in playoffs where he just tries to force the action. And this might be that type of situation where the run game isn't going, and you're going to try and force some balls against his Bears defense.
Well, especially if the Bears start scoring early, that especially. There was a few games last year where Phillip Rivers looked like he was just closing his eyes and dropping back and praying for the ball to come down, and the Bears will take advantage of that if that ends up being the case in this one.
Absolutely.
I didn't bet first inning, and I didn't bet first 5 innings or any of that stuff. So believe me, I don't. Do I want to be down 2-0? Absolutely not. If you throw that pitch to Aaron Judge, you're gonna, the score is gonna be 2-0 if there's a guy up first. I mean, it's gonna happen almost all the time. But we've seen Bieber now settle in, strike out the next batter, and I'm sure he'll be striking out plenty more. He's painting the corners, and we know Garrett Cole's good for at least giving up 3 to 5 runs, so we're gonna be fine here.
All right, Mitch is still confident. Maybe let's look at a live in-game. You might get plus 250 right now. What's the in-game line, Mitch? Maybe you could kind of look at that.
If I happen to be looking at the in-game, I could probably get some action.
I could press it a little bit. Of course, the Bears here with that offense and defense here. Were you a little surprised here seeing this number move up from the 1 to 2.5?
I don't know. I really don't have an opinion on that. Because the Colts have looked pretty good. They do have a good running game. But I just like the other side.
Yeah, I can't argue that one. All right, Shane, we see you're doing fantastic work over in the NBA. Your thoughts in this finals, Heat and Lakers?
Yeah, it should be a competitive series. I think it goes at least 6. I know people who love the Heat or think it's gonna be over in 4. Think it's gonna go over in 7. I think 6 is about the number will be with the Lakers coming out on top in the series, but no way I'm laying any serious price on that because there's no value with the Lakers there.
Not absolutely. All right, so you're gonna evaluate. What do you have going on over at Pick Dogs Premium as we see at the top of leaderboards in the NBA? What do you got going?
Yeah, after this, I'm gonna lock in one play for sure for the NBA tomorrow. Looking at the second one. And then I'm sure I'll have a couple baseball plays to round out the card.
All right, check him out, Shane Mickle over at Pig Dogs Premium. Shane, as always, have a great rest of your night and weekend, and we will talk to you a little later.
All right, sounds good. Have a great night, guys. Go Indians.
Right. Oh, we go, the Indian roll. Oh, continuing here with the drive-thru with Mitch. We still have a few picks. We got some picks, some college football. Looks like we got another NFL game to talk about here with Mitch. I want to look at this. Mitch, look at the Saints and Lions game. This one got my attention here as we'll pull up the line in this one as it will be played. We hope we know it's played. It's only the Minnesota Vikings and Tennessee that have shut down, Mitch. They've shut down operations here up until Saturday, so we'll see if those two teams are in action. But where we get to the top of the line here, Saints and Detroit. With the Saints road favorites 4.5 and 4, total sits here at 54. Short week for New Orleans. Detroit coming off that win against Arizona.
Yeah, the Lions. Not going to be betting on them to be stringing together wins anytime in the near future. That's for sure. Still can't believe some of the they're definitely not giving Bieber the strike zone here. It'll be interesting to see what kind of strike zone Cole gets, because Bieber is painting the corners here and not getting the calls as he is out of the inning here, but down obviously 2-0 to get things started. But I don't think it's a time to panic. I never panic when I'm down early. I jumped on that run line or the in game at plus 230. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Anyways, back to this one, the Lions and the Saints. The Saints just look bad. The game in Las Vegas I can forgive because of the flags, but the game against the Packers, they just got beat. And I think that we saw some big problems there in that game. But nothing's better, more of a good feel-good moment than playing the Detroit Lions. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right, for sure. Detroit Lions, of course, coming off that win. What'd you take from that performance? The 3 interceptions by Murray in that one really hurt the Arizona team.
They played poorly. Arizona played poorly in that game, and that's what's going to happen. And you have a young quarterback, and you have the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals. It's not like it's the Tom Brady Patriots or something, or the Terry Bradshaw Steelers. It's still the Arizona Cardinals, and still very much a work in progress. I don't think people are calling for the Cardinals to win the Super Bowl or anything. So you're going to have mistakes. You're going to take some losses, and I think the Cardinals. Have some work to do, but the division and the NFC in general shaping up to be a lot easier than what a lot of to clear the way, and that you can afford to have some losses, as no one in the NFC East is winning. The Minnesota Vikings can't buy a win. You have other teams struggling throughout as well, including the 49ers, who are in their division, who are banged up, and they have a win over. So I think not in horrible shape, but. Anyways, the end game is plus 230 on the Indians. It's still hanging there. It was at 247 when Judge hit the home run. It went down to 230. It was hit quickly and hard. And, I don't know. I'm not sure where 100% of that money came from, but I do know where a portion of it might have come from.
Right, we got some drama brewing here in the Tampa Bay and Toronto game. Toronto, 2 runners on, 1 out, top of the 7th. Tampa Bay goes to the bullpen with Anderson. Tesco Hernandez up with 2 on here in a 1-0 Rays lead. So this has been the best rally opportunity here for the Toronto Blue Jays, Mitch.
Yeah, they're not going to go down easy. I mean, it's playoff baseball, and most of these guys, this is exactly what they play.
All right, to continue here on the drive-thru with Mitch. And, of course, now it's time for Mitch's pick. We're going to look at college football, Mitch. TCU in Texas. Texas here laying 13. Total sits at 63. We just saw Texas pull one out. The defense gave up a ton of yardage. Texas isn't back until the defense plays. And, they had to outscore Texas Tech. They did at the wire. How do you see this one?
Yeah, I think that, Texas, until they prove something to me, then, I can't back them. Herman 8-5 last season. We took Texas Tech last week plus the points. I think once again, how does Gary Patterson make so much money, and why has he been at TCU for so long? He's 5-1 against Texas in his last 6 straight up. It's until you prove that you can do something, you can't give people credit for it. And we see it a lot in sports, where people get too caught up in Sam Ellinger and all this other stuff. It's I'll just take my frogs and my money in this one.
All right, Mitch says go ahead and take the points here with TCU plus the 13. All right, continuing here on the drive-thru. We'll take a look at this game here, Mitch. It's the Chargers and the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay moved up to about a 7.5-point favorite in this one. And we've seen the total come in at 43.5. Matter of fact, it's come down from 45.5 because the Chargers have went over in every game this year. So we've seen the number move from 6 to 7.5 with Tampa Bay. Obviously, the Chargers just having trouble getting points on the board.
Tom Brady definitely looking a lot more comfortable in the Bucs offense. So I think that has a lot to do with the way this line has moved. But the end game now on the Indians after Cole's first strikeout, he's going to have a ton of them. Plus 245 now on the Tribe.
All right, here we go.
But meanwhile, interestingly enough, the Indians at plus 2.5. is still super expensive.
Wow.
A little hedging going on there.
Little hedging going on there.
Cole's certainly bringing the heat here, though.
Now, Cole bringing the heat. I'm joined here with Mitch as we are looking as we on our drive-through show, 6 p.m. Eastern time, as we break down all the games in prime time, and of course the games the following day in baseball. It's now time for us to go ahead and recap the show picks, and let's take a look at what we had for tonight. So show. All right, Alex Smart led it off. Mitch with taking St. Louis plus 153 against the Padres, as it's Kim against Paddock, we believe. Chris gives us our 2 for Tuesday. Atlanta Braves minus 129 against the Reds. Also likes the Reds and Braves under 7.5. Al Ninos was in Game 2 action. Took the White Sox plus 114 against Athletics. Shane says the Bears at plus 2.5 against the Colts. Mitch with the points, plus 13 against TCU. Of course, the game I have is now in progress with the Yankees. Mitch, other than your pick, I know it's not mine, which pick up there do you like the best?
I will go with the Braves minus 129.
All right. Mitch says take Alex Fried in that one against the Atlanta Braves versus Cincinnati Reds. That's Game 2. That's the first game going off at 12 p.m. Eastern time. All right. Back here on the drive-thru. That was our show, guys. We recap the pick. Reminder to check out the morning show at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Mitch and company will break down all the action, Major League Baseball. And, of course, Mitch, I know you guys are looking forward to talking about that NBA Finals for tomorrow.
Absolutely. Game 1 of the NBA Finals. I'm, been taking names in the NBA this season. I expect to do it all the way through to the final whistle of the final game. My worst baseball season ever, but I tell you, percentage-wise, my best NBA season ever.
All right, Mitch. As always, we're gonna wrap up this drive-through edition. To tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Have a lot of coverage we'll cover the NBA. Have a pick on that game as well as Major League Baseball. We'll also dabble into some NFL and college football. Let's go ahead and bring in the crew. Wave us goodbye.
I will say one thing about Cole dealing here in the first inning, that if you haven't caught the end game, it's probably a great opportunity. You might even want to wait an inning or two, because Indians get through one time through against this guy. I'm telling you, he always has a bad inning. He always does. And he's out of this one. So let's go to the second inning, 2-0.
All right. So 2 runs will not be enough in this game. So this is definitely saying that. All right, guys, we'll bring in the crew and say goodnight for now, and tune in tomorrow for our show at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Talk to you guys.